Hey guys, this is Game Cow, where I'm playing the Genius of Sephiroth Weekend Edition Touhou of all Touhous. And today we're going to go into the Forest of Magic, but first I did say we were going to do something with this here machine. And well, this is a password machine that if you input a few codes, then you can get some special equipment. Just different weapons and whatnot, which are kinda cool. So these codes were given out, I believe, at various conventions and stuff over in Japan when the game first came out. But if you have a look at the Wiki under the miscellaneous tab for this game, then you can find them there. So that's what I have up, and we're just gonna quickly go ahead and put them in, and I shall show off what they do. We will actually be using a couple of these because they are pretty good. You don't need them, but I feel like I may as well just show them off. I mean, obviously if you don't want to use these things, then just don't bother, but I feel like they're cool, and they're not going to be useful for particularly long. Like, it's really only for the next stage that they're too good for. Maybe not even that far, depends if we actually get a couple of equipment drops, or if we start making some of the character specific gear. And yeah, it honestly doesn't take too long to get past this stuff. So yeah, I just want to show them off because they're neat. So we have forward and 087. That's the White Lance. Again, I'll quickly just show what they do once I've actually got them all in. If you come up to this thing and you don't know what a password is for it, then you can just press B and cancel out of it, so don't feel like you have to guess all this stuff, because to be honest, you probably won't guess these. Like, it's an 8-digit code. It takes forever to go through all of the possibilities, and that would just be kinda silly. So then we have one more. Fortunately, the staff only gets one option here, but that's fine. So then 1-1. Right, so let's show what these items are, and then I need to gear my characters up and whatnot. So, starting off with the melon sword. I guess the sword only gets one up as well, which is kind of silly, but basically it gives you decent attack and very good accuracy compared to the other sword stuff we have. Well, okay, not very good, it's like 4 points more, but more attack power, and you get 5% more experience whilst this is equipped. This includes if you're in the commander slot, so if you have a commander that can use swords, then most definitely put this on them, because that'd be really good. Then you have the Gamer Fan, which is a pretty decent axe that increases your drop rate. It also has much better accuracy than most axes, so there is that. I think in order to get this to proc, you, like one of the other weapons we'll see, I believe you have to have this as the person who knocks out the monster. So it's a bit situational. I mostly just use it for the attack power. It's not gonna give you extra stuff too often, so yeah, but the attack is quite nice, so I do use it for that. Then we have a couple of lances. This one can sometimes ignore defense. It's otherwise pretty underwhelming because it is a lance, but hey, that's what it is. And then here, this one's actually slightly stronger and more accurate, but instead, if you knock out the monster with this, you get 1 extra power. So that can be kind of nice, I suppose. Then we have one of the daggers, which increases your HP and MP by 10%. Pretty good. It's also very strong. If you see 32 attack, it's actually the same as the anima pen, and it's almost on par with the melon sword. It's pretty damn powerful. And being a knife, you get to be a fair bit quicker, so this is actually not a terrible option to put on Marissa. Even though she loses magic attack for putting it on, the HP MP is quite nice, especially the MP, because then you can, you know, use more magic, and who wouldn't want to use the more magic? So then we have the Tiger Axe. This is the most powerful of the weapons. 39 attack is only a couple of points higher than the Gamer Fan, but what this lets you do is it lets you use another skill in the main cannon, which maybe will show, maybe not, we'll see. And then the D-Staff. Oh, I'm actually missing one of the things. I just realised that because there is actually 2 daggers and I don't have both of them. The D-Staff is one-handed, so you can actually use shields with it. But as you can see, it only gives 1 magic attack, so I've never used this weapon. It's also less accurate than every other staff, which is weird. Yeah, I'm actually missing one of the weapons here, so, and it's the one which I really want to use, so just quickly put that in. The Bika Cherry Blossom. It is actually a very good weapon in its own right, and this is the one I'll be giving to Sanae. And what it does is it gives you a lot of attack power. This is easily the best weapon that they have here. It's almost as good an attack power as the no, it's better than the Gamer Fan. It's almost as good as the Tiger Axe. It's still got good accuracy, being a knife, and it gives you 10% of the damage you deal back is HP, and 1% of the damage you deal is MP. This is another one which is quite good for Marissa if you want to go down that route, because having the MP drain is really nice. So might actually do that for once. Let's see how much that would cut me down. Probably about 4 points in magic attack? Oh, 5. So it's a little bit of a cut there, but she gets some physical attack presence, which is always nice. She actually increases in speed and accuracy, which is pretty great. And yeah, the draining would actually be good. So yeah, let's try that on Marissa for once. And then instead we'll put the Mesa Dagger on you. Still good attack presence, and the HP MP is pretty good for Sanae, so we'll do that. Aya is actually not going to be in the party anymore. I honestly don't find Aya very good. Her attack power is very low compared to the other characters, and her speed is nice, her evasion's pretty nice, but she doesn't have a lot of survivability. Now, neither does Notori at the moment. You could very easily switch out Notori for Aya, but I kind of want to use Notori at the moment because of reasons later. Honestly, Patchouli doesn't matter too much. You can see Patchouli can use daggers, staves, and axes for some reason. So yeah, Patchouli doesn't really make too much of a difference right now. In fact, I might actually be better giving Notori the thing there. Notori can use lances and axes as well as basic swords. So Notori is one you can put the melon sword on quite nicely. As for her at the moment though, well, this is actually more accurate, so I guess we'll put the Tiger Axe on her, then we can show off the main cannon skill as well. Sakuya doesn't need a new weapon, even though her physical attack is a lot weaker at the moment. Trust me, we'll be getting to that in a second. It will not stay that way. And Reimu needs the melon sword. More attack power, more accuracy, slightly lower speed, but whatever. And the experience up is quite nice. So just before we continue on any further than that, I can actually equip Sakuya with some more stuff. Like, the shield doesn't matter, but just in case I don't do anything with her that turn, I may as well. And then the plate armor gives her significantly more defense, as well as the physical slash resistance. So we shall do that. And you no longer need this, so we'll take that from you. You don't need that, so we'll put that on you. And yeah, the Tori's thing. Perfect dodge, that's something we'll go into later, but it's basically a total miss percent. So any physical attack has a 5% chance to just completely miss the Tori. which is quite nice. But we'll just give her Earth Resistance because reasons. Actually, no, scratch that. We'll give Sanai the Earth Resistance because then we can give the Fire Resistance to Notori. And she can have a 25% resistance to that now. So it gets rid of her weakness. Now let's look at the growth tree stuff because we need to do that. I mean, I could have just done this stuff in between parts, but I kind of feel like it's beneficial to show this. Because, well, let's be honest, you kind of could do with seeing it, you know? It's something with the new characters that it lets me explain a thing momentarily. Just as soon as I decide where to put this stuff, I could... yeah, we could give you more crit rate, I guess. Or I could... I'd have to take the stats from here, but if I put 5 points into Spirit Attack, we can actually reduce the cooldown on Extermination to 0, so that'd be quite nice. And then you see here, Sakuya is actually power level 8, so I believe the way it works is the power level is the average of your entire party at the time. So all of our characters, when we recruited Sakuya, was power level 8. They got to level 9 during the boss fight, but I don't think that counts. So yeah, there is that. But basically they were all level 8, so Sakuya gets to start at power level 8. And the very first thing you're going to want to do with Sakuya is place everything into her two-handed sword. Because as you can see by the stat buffs, she is going to get a ridiculous amount of physical attack here. Try and be power level 7 at the very least before you fight the boss, before you fight Mimilia and Notori, because that way you can get this straight away, and physical attack plus 50. She is going to hit harder than even Reimu, who's using a much better weapon at the moment. Imagine what it's going to be like when we can actually increase the attack power of Sakuya with better Claymore. This is where Sakuya's true power comes in. This is why she is so good with her standard weapon and should always be using one of her own weapons. Otherwise, she's got a few cool tricks. Illusion is probably the one you'll want to use a decent bit of stuff in because of the cooldowns and whatnot. But also because you get one of Sakuya's main gimmicks is multiple hit attacks, so that's good for that. You can put stuff into murder if you need more accuracy, but usually I find it's better just maxing this first and then going from there. For now I'm just going to put stuff into made arts until I can get more two-handed sword, because HP plus 15% is actually a good amount, and Sakuya will level up fairly quickly in terms of HP, so that'll become significant fairly soon. And then for Notori, well, Notori's physical enhancing stuff is very bad, so I usually don't invest anything into here. She's not using a gun at the moment, so the gun tree is obviously pointless, but that's generally pretty good if you want to use the gun. Most of what I start with, actually when I'm starting this game, most of what I end up doing with Notori comes in the invention tree for a fair while, because it gives her survivability, so that's always nice. Although I do want to go ahead and put stuff into here as well. Do I want her to have auto heal? Yeah, we'll have auto heal just now. We'll get more power later. So Notori's main gimmick is in her chases, and I guess we'll see that fairly soon. Did anybody... yeah, you don't need more that way. You don't have anything else. You don't have anything else. You do, because one of the things of going into a weapon tree is that you get extra attacks from the weapon tree itself. So here we actually have a double slash attack from Sakuya's two-handed sword tree. So that's kind of nice. And Notori doesn't really have anything else at the moment. She will have pretty soon, but this is the attack that the Tiger Axe will give you. So we'll put that on, so hopefully we'll get to show that. And yeah, that's basically it for this stuff. So yeah, quite a lot before going into the Forest of Magic, I know, and we'll probably make the Forest of Magic a two-part thing as a result, maybe just do the grinding at the end of the second part of this, but I figured it was important to get all of that stuff out of the way, because at this point we can now just progress and not have to worry about, you know, explaining any of the new items and all of that we got. So yeah, this is, if you haven't already explored the party command, then this is how you do it. We explored that last time. No, this is your portal to the end when you've completed stuff. And yeah, this is the Forest of Magic. One of the cooler areas in terms of its music, in my opinion. It's got a lot of hidden chests though, so don't miss out on them. Basically, we're going to be getting a lot of synthesis items here. It's not the only thing we're going to get, but we're going to get a lot of them, so bear that in mind. Also, no chance I was getting through that. So, I actually need to alter my formation after this, because Marissa doesn't do too well being at the top now. But now, we'll get to see some more of the power here, which is always nice. Pretty much everybody except Notori is using a slash weapon at the moment, which is good because the Vampire Fawn is weak to slash, so definitely bear that in mind. You see just how much damage Marissa is doing there. That's way more physical damage than she ever did before. So Marissa's going to be able to fire off much more in terms of magic as well now, because she will have the extra damage in physical stuff. So if I run out of MP, then I can just attack with her, you know, physically for a while. As far as where we're going to put people just now, we are going to arrange our party sort of like this. Sakia will go further up the party to be targeted more often when she actually has levels. But for now, she kinda doesn't have much HP. 20 HP is not a lot to tank hits with, so we'll just casually put her down there just now. And see, here is going to be an interruption. One thing this game does a lot of is recycle enemies. I mean, it's an RPG of like turn-based stuff. It makes sense to have enemies do the same stuff, you know, as previous ones. So all of the weaknesses and stuff of the class of enemy will stay the same. So even though these fairies are going to be a little bit stronger than they used to be, they are still going to be weak against dark attacks if you have Biakra and Review. Other than that, they're a little bit more powerful than they used to be, but nothing we can't handle. And look at that, a level 1 Sakuya just did 90 damage with her basic physical attack. That is absolutely ridiculous. Also, a thing there, if you notice the green mist there, that isn't evasion playing it, that is perfect dodge. One of the things that the Kappa camouflage formation has is every character has a chance of perfect dodging attacks. The chance is lower, I think it is lower the further down you are, but every character can perfect dodge physical now, so that's good. Anyway, that's how you dispel the stuff. Unfortunately, we could not move straight after that, so that's a thing. But whatever, we shall persist anyway. The plants are weak against slash, but also against fire if you want to use an elemental weakness as well. So that's fairly nice to know. Then you can see there the column formation's definitely coming in handy here, because we do have that nice little nice little block against most of the attacks here. Also, I suppose you can see the experience thing I was talking about last time. So Sakuya and Notori are underleveled for this area, so they get 50% more experience than Sanae and the rest. So does Patchouli, obviously, so they're gonna level up quicker. Reimu is getting 28 instead of 27 because she has the melon sword on her, so she gets 5% more experience. All of these things round down, so they do go against you that way. We're going back up here though, because there is actually stuff up here, like a chest. So don't forget to grab that before you go. I don't know if I'm going to be able to show all of the chests and stuff in the initial runs of this, but we'll just see. If I miss any, then I will grab them when I do the grindy stuff. So yeah, a few ways you can go here. We're going to go up to start with because there's stuff up here, like extra items and whatnot. There's also extra enemies, so be mindful of that. But we can grab a cold hat and fight an enemy. Okay, that's fine. Birds are weak against lightning and stab weapons if you have stab, but obviously we don't have any stab, but we do have lightning. So Marissa and her quick casting just gonna nuke the bird down there. The birds can use swoop, which is a high priority move that can inflict daze, so it basically flinches you for the turn. And here we have the first of our character-specific items. So the silver tray is Sakuya's crafting specialty. We need lots of those in order to craft stuff for her. There are, I think, 10 of each character's crafting item in the main game. And also, hi, cameo from Marissa's house. Yeah. This is actually important later on. There is actually stuff here, but for now, it's just there, and it's pretty cool. I suppose I should say the other item I got. We'll put it on you. So the cold hat, it will almost always block sleep. So if you are very weak to sleep, then you can put that on and be slightly less weak to sleep. And it's pretty great. So then, if we want to go another direction, we can go over here, and I think this is also just a bonus item collecting area. So here, the magic shard is Patchouli's item for crafting, and there is, I think, yep, there are 2 more items here. Oh, and a couple of ugly enemies too. Alright, so the land turtle is a rather nasty enemy that basically what it does, or what it can do, is it can use cover attack. So I think it's called Diva Stand, and it basically means that all attacks get redirected to the turtle. Turtles are very good against physical stuff, especially stab weapons, so don't try and shoot the turtle or stab it with a broom, that won't work. However, they are, for some bizarre reason, weak to water, which is highly odd. I don't know quite why they're weak to water, but they are. Another thing I guess to say about them is that if you use a multi-target attack, then you will do more damage to it because it blocks for all of its allies. So if I was to use something that would hit every member of the opposing party and it covered, then I would attack it 3 times in a row, which is pretty good. It also has a lot of HP, and as you can see it does a lot of damage too, so it's pretty rough to deal with. Another thing that they're weak to is strike weapons, so the axe that we have is actually pretty good against it, and we'll see that here hopefully. And there is the cover, so you see it's protecting. Ooh, and we get an item off it too, very nice. Also, so many alsos in this, Sakuya got 2 attacks off there, and that, I think, is not something I've actually gone ahead and explicitly stated, but in her two-handed sword tree, another reason to level this up instantly, is normal attacks will occasionally hit twice. So Sakuya can now double cast, basically. So not only does she get a massive attack gain, she also can hit twice in a turn, which is stupid good. It's really, really powerful with that. Ugh. Okay, so Matango over here, you do not want to physically attack this thing if you can help it, because it will counterattack with a Sweet Veil attack, which is a column-based sleep inducer. So I'm actually going to go ahead and buff my resistance whilst I'm here. It's weak to fire, so it can be burned pretty easily, but it does have a lot of HP, so 1 Hellfire is not enough to take it out, which is kind of annoying. But Hellfire plus the plus Sakuya being stupid powerful is more than enough. So, yeah. I guess another obvious thing is that the green 20 that's appearing for Notori every turn is her regen from her growth tree. So she will recover 20 health every turn, which she now has 20 health, so that's always nice. So yeah. Couldn't get away from it. So the demon that we saw in the first stage is back again, and we'll just use an amulet against it, and then everybody else can go physical. It probably won't last very long anyway by itself, so yeah. The demons get very powerful later though, so don't take them for granted, that's all I'm gonna say. So I think this is it's the only other item in this area, because we did get the two up there before, so we'll leave the rest of the enemies for now. We don't need to deal with them all. And we can continue going down. This is Sanai's item, the snake skin. And let's just go down a random path and see. So now we're going to start seeing multiple dolls. So basically all you've got to do is go up to a doll and hit the A button and it disappears. But in order to remove the spell circle that's blocking your path, which is actually on the other path that I'm not going down at the moment, but in order to remove the spell circle, you have to basically touch all of the dolls. So that's what we're gonna do. It basically just makes you explore the areas and grab as much stuff as you can. Surprise attack. Didn't do too much. Okay. I'm just gonna auto this fight because then I get Marissa's MP back up. Although you see they do a lot of damage to Saki right there. But crit's coming in handy. Gonna get this done fairly quickly, so it's fine. But yeah, that's stuff. The donation box, I probably was gonna say that's Reimu's crafting item as we saw before. Magic Mushroom is Marissa's crafting item. And we now have I believe this is a paralysis blocker. Let's put that on Reimu. Yeah, it's paralysis. It's almost always prevented. Paralysis is super annoying because you can't move and there's no way of like curing it, I suppose. So that's annoying. Anyway, Staff of Purgatory, another really cool item that we have here, is if I didn't have the dagger on Marissa, then I would have this. So this increases your fire spell damage by 20%. Staffs work on a slightly different power thing than the rest of the weapons, but I guess this is as good a time to explain that as any. So if you have a weapon that has earth added damage, like 20% or something, that means your attacks will do 20% more damage, but that damage is affected by the enemy's weakness and resistance to earth. If the enemy is completely immune to earth, that doesn't mean that you do no damage, it just means that you do no extra damage. We'll just shoot that. There's the days, so Reimu's lost her turn now, which is kind of annoying. But yeah, so if the enemy is weak to earth, then you do more than 20% extra damage, but if it's completely neutral, then you just do that 20%. However, with the staff weapons, it's a little bit different because it's enhanced instead of added damage. So, god damn it, I'm trying to explain stuff, Kadamas, but wow, they did not last long. So with a staff, it only affects the spells, not your physical attacks. Oh, freaking so many enemies in such a short space of time. Luckily, the extermination can hit all of these, so we should be fine. And we'll just put fire on you. Oh, maybe not, because there's that sweet breath coming in with a sleep. So if Reimu gets hit with a physical attack, then she might wake up, but otherwise, yeah. And the Tori kind of died. So the plants here will also counterattack, and they counterattack with Blood Drain, which is really awkward. because that does a lot of damage and it can really hurt. So yeah, watch that. So just casually exploring the Forest of Magia. This is probably not actually going to take as long as I thought it would, so that's fine. If you aren't using the weapons from the promotional vending machine code stuff, then this battle axe is actually pretty good. It's a decent amount of attack power. It's fairly low accuracy, but if you're still using Aya, then she can use this weapon quite well. Also, the Gaia shield is another one of those special shields that anyone can use. It doesn't block any physical attacks, it only blocks magic. Unless the physical attack has an element, but most enemy physicals won't have an element attached to them. So some of them actually do, but most will not. So it generally is only good against magic, but it has a ton of magic defense attached to it. So still decent to equip to someone. You know, Marissa actually can use a shield right now because she's using the cherry blossoms, so we'll put it on Marissa for just now. And yeah, it's another one of the dolls that we need. And there should be one more down the bottom of this. Don't forget the item on the way past. And yeah, we have a pretty interesting enemy here, Mr. Gensokyo. This enemy likes to inflict poison on everyone, so be mindful of that. We're actually going to buff our resistance with Sanai here, so that we don't get hit by that too much. And it's weak against lightning, so we shall Stardust against it. It has about 250 HP, and that poison mist can really hurt, so yeah. Oh, what? I have resistance up and it's still put me to sleep. That is awkward. Whatever. Doesn't have too much health left, so we should just be able to nuke it down. Yeah, let's just focus on the enemies here. Kill them before they kill us. That's how we should play. So, although that sweet breath kind of trying to be a butt, but failing to be the butt. Alright, power up and level ups for everyone, so that's good. Or at least everyone that needs them. So Patchouli and Notoria, they're very important to get increased here. It looks like that wasn't the only doll. Is there another one down here that I forgot about? Probably, but you know what there definitely is down here? More items like steel for armor making. Pretty good. There's also an item over here, Ring of Light, so that's good for Patchouli because it gives light resistance. And then there was another item down here. If I can avoid the battle, that'd be very nice. I don't know how I'm going to do that though. Nope. So another new enemy for here, the Yuki Onna. Very weak to fire, and that's about it. It can cast a party-wide ice attack though, well, water technically, but it can do some damage. You do want to take it out before it gets to do too much, but it's okay. Like, it's not too terribly difficult to deal with. Just don't let it actually attack if you can, because that happens and it hurts a lot. And that poison's gonna hurt too. So poison, oh wow, we get an item off it too, very nice. So yeah, the poison does a lot of damage in between turns, and it suddenly makes this fight a lot harder than it has a right to be. Great. Okay. I think I need to party heal here, so we'll do that. And Sakuya's last word is really cool. It basically just gives her a gigantic self buff. It's great. So this gigantically raises her power, which obviously is very, very helpful. So everybody's back up to full. Well, Reimu's not up at full, but that's fine because it's Reimu, nobody cares. And let's just show you how good Sakuya now is. Look at that, 190 damage. That's like a double in her attack power or something. Very, very powerful. And we get the Shower Amulet. So this is a different class of accessories, which is Now, where am I going to put that, actually? Because, you see, the thing with the shower amulet is that it will increase your water resistance a lot, and it increases your water damage by 10%. But it also lowers your fire resistance, so you do need to be a little bit careful with it. You can, of course, combine this with the fire amulets that we have already, to the Inferno Ring or whatever it was called, to Inferno Bracelet, whatever it's called, in order to mitigate the stat drop, the fire resistance drop. I think I'm just going to run it like this at the moment though. Giving 10% extra water damage to Marissa's Cold Inferno, or whatever the attack was called, is actually pretty solid, so we'll do that for just now. So then we get the rock, and up here is another item, Magician's Robe. So already another replacement for this. This is one of the reasons why item drops are not necessarily the be-all and end-all. It's another reason I don't want to shoot for 100% on the items right now, because you get new weapons and equipment and stuff pretty readily, so you don't have to rely too much on the ones that drop from enemies. That said, they are pretty good, a lot of them, so don't discount them. Just don't feel like you need them, you know? They're not essential. Yeah, that's pretty much it for that. Actually, can Reimu get more defense out of the... Yeah, she actually gets more defense out of the fairy dress, so we'll go ahead and put that on her just now. Don't feel like you absolutely have to stick to the character's weight tier in order to equip them. You can use lower level equipments if you need to. It's not usually advised, but you can. Oh, I already got the item from here. Ah, damn it. Oh well, at least it shows a new enemy off here. These poos are really irritating, actually. They're immune to light and dark. It's going to be another bug sequence of enemies that we'll find. And they cast a party-wide paralysis spell, which is really awkward, so we're going to defend against that as best as we can. Because I don't know about you, but I don't want to get hit by paralysis. They are very weak to lightning, however, so this should, yeah, just one-shot them. So that's good. And they don't have too much health overall, so they are fairly easy to get around. But you definitely don't want them to stick around longer than they have to. So I guess this is the turn of last words. We'll just last word it all up here, why not? And Hellfire now. So we get the healing buff. I don't think we'll need it, but just in case. And then stat up, and this should be over this turn? But you know, fancy stuff is fancy. Yeah, 300 damage because of that, and boom. Good stuff. So you can see the other characters are catching up pretty quickly, which is nice. It only gets better the more characters you get, the further you get into the game. The stat difference gets really huge. So, oh, not the stat difference, but the experience difference gets really big. So do not worry yourselves about that. We will get these characters caught up, especially because you know I'm going to do the quote-unquote grinding stuff after this, so I'm going to be taking out all the enemies in this stage after we're done, so... But you see, these fights don't take too long, so it's perfectly fine to just deal with this as is. Although having said that, a fight like this is quite taxing. I'm actually going to go ahead and show the commander stuff off here. So before you take any actions, if you press X, then you can go to the commander slot stuff, and basically this, whatever action your commander will do, will happen before any other move in the turn. So we'll use the Sunshine Reflector. We're going to just go all in the tap power here with our magic stuff, because I don't fancy taking this fight on. It's kind of annoying, to be honest. And we'll just attack everything with that as well, why not? And non-directional laser, hit everyone. Hopefully, yeah, we don't get swooped, so that's good. So non-directional laser does a lot of damage, that's quite good. And no sleep, that's also good. And Reimu can finish things off with Fancy Seal. Very nice. Or not, because apparently this thing is more resistant than I thought it was. God damn, it's still alive! We were supposed to kill it that turn. Oh, yes! Okay. More items to show. More levels to gain. So, I guess the main party can still level 2, and the Hakurei Amulet is a pretty good power difference compared to the basic amulet that we got. We now have a magic attack buff with Sano, and Marissa gets nothing new. But we do get the skill ring. So the skill ring is not something I'm going to use, I don't think, or at least not for very long. It increases potential, and potential is resistance, but it doesn't increase it very much. You see 4 points of potential only increases my resistance by 1 point. It's really not that strong, so unfortunately the potential, like the skill rings, just kind of don't see a lot of play. Anyway, if we progress onward, then we will see, yep, there's the one last doll that was here, and I don't particularly want to do this fight, but we're here, we may as well do it. It's not going to take too long, and yeah. It's just awkward to have to do so many fights here. Especially when your MP is running low, that is something I'm a little bit concerned at. We're probably going to go back after this, and looking at how long this recording has been going on for, probably best to stop it at that. So, yeah. Anyway, yeah, more new skills for the rest of the gang as well. And if you hadn't already cleared out the other dolls, then you would have to go the other side of the forest and, you know, do what we did over there. But that's basically at the halfway point for this place. The enemies do start getting a little bit tougher after this, so I am going to go back. I'm going to go to the Hakurei Shrine, quickly heal, quickly show off what those new skills do, and end the part there. Seems like a reasonable thing to me. So, since we're here, let's go ahead and just show them off. So we have a new skill for Sakuya, which is called Seal World. So this is a field spell, just like Marissa's last word, and whilst it's active, no healing can take place. Healing skills can still be used, but they heal for 0 damage. This does affect both you and the enemies, so be careful with that. It does not affect passive healing, I don't think. Pretty sure it doesn't affect passive. Actually, no, it might well affect passive healing. I don't remember. But I've never really interacted with the two much because I don't use this very often. There's very few worthwhile uses for this skill. So yeah, it's there, but don't expect it to ever get used. Sunny Strike. This is a fire element attack. It also pierces through enemies. So Notori has 3 options. Her water attack is always stronger, you know, the strongest one, but it is single target. The fire one is a piercing move, but is a little bit weaker. And then the lightning one we're going to see later is a very widespread move, but is weaker still. And then this is, well, Apache's got a lot of starting skills, but yeah, as I said, Apache is basically a multi-target element mage, and she has spell cards for every element too, so you can hit a little bit harder. And she has her Mystic Philosopher's Stone, which is ridiculously expensive, has a ridiculous cooldown. It does do a decent bit of damage, but is honestly not worth the cost, especially because you can't use any of her spell cards in this time. But Royal Flare and Silent Selene, which we'll see next time, those are actually worth it. So, decent power. Still hits everything reasonable enough cooldown, especially because you can reduce the cooldown with Patchy. So yeah, they're pretty powerful. Anyway, this has gone on more than long enough with stuff. I'm looking at the file size more than anything, and it's for this game it's a pretty big file size, so sorry if this has gone on too long, but well, there was a lot to explain at the start and I wanted to get a decent bit of the way into the forest, so that's kind of how it goes. So this has been Gamer Cow playing Touhou, the Genius of Sapphiros, and next time we'll finish up the Forest of Magic and probably just go ahead and do the leveling stuff as well. We'll just knock out all the enemies once the main part is done. So yeah, until next time, take care.